Alright guys, so we've got a little bit of a lawsuit on our hands. And no, the lawsuit has nothing to do with me, but it does have to do with Stranger Things. If you get the backdrop, we got the pop figures. I set it up well. So Stranger Things kind of came in a little bit like a wrecking ball, capturing the hearts of those young and old, really just calling back to your Stephen Kings, your John Carpenters, your Steven Spielbergs, and everybody else who made a significant mark in the 80s in the sci-fi kid adventure world. Since the first season aired, it has just completely blown up in popularity. You can get action figures, you can get t-shirts, you can get posters, you can get Ouija boards, you can pretty much everything branded with Stranger Things, and it doesn't seem like it's slowing down anytime soon. But unfortunately, something happened recently that might put it a little bit at jeopardy. There is currently a lawsuit afoot with the creators of Stranger Things, the Duffer brothers. Charlie Kessler claiming that they stole his idea when they ended up making Stranger Things. Now these kinds of lawsuits are pretty common. You know, every year you can find new people claiming that, you know, some massive project, movie, film, book, or something was taken from their own minds, from their own creation, and, you know, repopularized, and that means that they are due for some of that cash in return. So honestly, when you look at a lot of the things leading into this Stranger Things lawsuit against the Duffer brothers, it doesn't actually look great for them. If you take everything at face value, it's kind of a little bit of an iffy situation. So basically what Kessler is alleging is that in 2014 at a party for I think the Tribeca Film Festival, he met the Duffer brothers, who at the time were also rather small creators, and told them about his idea. He specifically said he pitched them his idea based off of a short film that he had already made entitled Montauk, more specifically the Montauk Project. Then in 2015, the Duffer brothers sold the idea for Stranger Things to Netflix under the original working title Montauk. So right there, when you're looking at it, you're like, okay, that's a little fishy. That seemed that, you know, the cookie crumbs are all kind of leading back to, yeah, maybe they stole this guy's idea. So but let's keep going. We're gonna keep going a little bit to give you guys the rundown here. So of the similarities of the two pieces of work, if I start listing some of them off to you, you're probably gonna be like, yeah, that sounds like they flat out ripped off the guy's ideas. So there's a similarity of a child being abducted for research and experimentation at a government military facility. So like right there, that's pretty spot on. A cop with a troubled past who is hell-bent on trying to find him. A monster that looks like the missing child's toys, but specifically that monster comes out of a portal from another dimension. And then just overall rumors of other experiments happening at the location. So I say all that out loud, and a lot of you are probably like, that literally sounds shot for shot like the first episode or the first couple episodes of the first season of Stranger Things. But when you go a little bit further, when you go one step further back and you realize what the inspiration is for Stranger Things, quite obviously by their own admission, by their own statements, and why the original show was called Montauk, is all based off of an actual location in Montauk that has a lot of conspiracy theories surrounding it. It's specifically a Montauk Air Force Station and was kind of referred to as Camp Hero, and there's no secret there. A lot of the cast members had alluded to that being the inspiration behind the show. Obviously, if they were gonna steal someone's idea for a show, they probably wouldn't have called it Montauk. And obviously the main difference there is that in the show, they end up moving the location to Indiana to change a couple of things. So obviously the name Montauk gets left behind. They adopt the name Stranger Things. But if I was gonna steal something from somebody, I'd probably really distance myself away from that particular name. Just so you guys know, the Duffer brothers have 100% said that the claim is meritless. They're not even confirming that they ever had a conversation with this guy, whereas Kessler is specifically saying that his representatives would have sent them copies of his short film. They claim they never saw his short film, and 100% maintain that they never saw or discussed any projects with him. And I think their lawyer specifically said that this guy is just trying to take advantage of other people's creativity and success. So that is kind of where that stalemate lasts right now. But like I said, when you're kind of looking at all the little cookie crumbs and things, it seems like, yeah, it kind of seems like these people might have sold this guy's idea. But that takes us down the one further rabbit hole of the people that might have actually had some kind of claim to sue him, and that's the people who made the book entitled The Montauk Project, Experiments in Time. And that was released in 1992 by people who claim to have been experimented on in that facility. I'm not gonna go into too many details there, but basically someone said, you know, I've suddenly remembered all of these memories from years ago where I was experimented on. There's alien involvement, portals to different worlds. They were experimenting on just like different like foster kids and orphans and stuff like that. So I'm not going to go full into detail there. If you guys want a full rundown on the Montauk Project and all of the conspiracies surrounding it there, feel free to let me know down below. I'd actually be really interested to do an entire little look into it and how it inspired Stranger Things. So to me, it's actually interesting that Kessler's the one coming at them, considering he too stole his own ideas. Well, not stole, but he too was inspired by these original events. And like I said, that framework stuff, the framework ideas, the similarities between Kessler's project and Stranger Things really come down to the missing children, which is from the source material, the experimentation, which is from the source material, the connection to otherworldly dimensions, which is from the source material. Really, the only thing that kind of stands out would be the Hopper-like character, which is the police officer with the troubled past, hell-bent on finding a kid, and I could throw a stone at my movie collection blindly and hit a movie about a troubled cop with a bad past trying to save a kid or trying to do the right thing. Like the troubled cop storyline and motif is so common. It's almost impossible to find something where there's a cop that isn't troubled and isn't just trying his best to do something in a movie. It's like impossible to find that. So that right there becomes the very loose connection. The other aspect is that in the short film, which has now been pulled, so I can't actually show you guys examples from it, unfortunately, it's been pulled since the lawsuit started gaining traction, probably because the guy didn't want more people pointing out that there was so few similarities between his short film and what Stranger Things turned into. It's gone now, but there really aren't that many similarities, and it does definitely focus more on the cop trying to find the kid than anything else, whereas Stranger Things has a very strong emphasis on the kid, his friends, and more so of an emphasis on the friends and the family and how they're dealing with everything. And then of course the 11 side story, that's where there's a major difference there. And obviously 11 is pretty much the driving force behind Stranger Things. It's really kind of hard to separate her from that. So I'm gonna call the shenanigans on them actually like stealing his idea, but again, we'll put that out there and let you guys be the judge of that. Do you think they're lying? Do you think they had to meet up with this guy and that put them onto the ideas for the Montauk Project and gave them the idea to start pursuing that project? Do you think he has any kind of claim or stake here? But the other thing is that he can't just, if you have a conversation with somebody about an idea you have, that you can't sue them for taking it. A lot of it has to do with execution as well. So their execution of Stranger Things is vastly different than how he executed his project. His short film was a found footage film. That is inherently different than what Stranger Things is. It's actually completely different than what Stranger Things is. So right there, if the execution, you can't say that they were inspired in execution. He would have to do a really good job proving that his framework was used to create Stranger Things. You can actually read through his lawsuit, and honestly his original pitch, what he pitched the idea as, is it's not really that close to anything Stranger Things ended up being, especially now that there's a second season and the similarities pretty much die very early on in this second season. And honestly, Netflix would really just have to prove that the seasons going forward have like very little to do with anything he would have had an idea for, and they're going to be good to go. The other thing is that it's weird that he came out after the second season aired, and a lot of people are like, if it was a money thing and he wanted to wait for the money to reach a peak point, it was making bank after the first season. So if he was that concerned about it, I could have seen him coming out back then, or at least stirring some kind of pot. Though it does make sense, you know, if you have a lawsuit, there's nothing saying you can't come forward after 10 years of something saying that they stole your idea. So obviously, if you're letting more revenue get generated, that means that you have more to gain from it. Not that it would ever get to that point. He was specifically asking for a trial with jury, but I'm sure Netflix would have pushed to settle it outside. But honestly, like I said, the Duffer brothers are claiming or stating that the claims are completely meritless, that they never had a conversation with him, that he had no part in the creation or development of Stranger Things, and they're very specifically saying that they're just influenced by the idea of the Montauk Project, and then their childhood, their 80s childhood. Like, again, Stranger Things is influenced by so many things, and it's so very obvious. It literally just has a huge callback to the 80s. The only thing I can think of that has more references and more callbacks to the 80s is Ready Player One. No hate there, just making a statement. So somebody said that Stephen King would have a better chance suing the Stranger Things people than this guy would. So that's kind of my opinion on the situation. I think that's all. I made like little notes. Otherwise, there's also a documentary that was made about the Montauk Chronicles. I think that actually came out back in 2015, and that's won a couple, I think the Philip K. Dick Awards for Best Documentary, and it's won a couple different awards for stuff like that, but that's not even made by this Kessler guy. So I don't know, I think it's a baseless claim personally. It's one of these things that when you look at it at face value, it's like, holy crap, they totally stole this guy's idea. But when you look deeper into it, it's like anybody who's into conspiracy theories could have heard about this. Anybody who's into anything like that, any kind of aliens, any kind of weird story, probably would have heard about it. And yeah, you can't find something that's completely untouched by outside influence. That's a physical impossibility nowadays. You can say what you want, but it is almost impossible to come up with any kind of fully unique idea. There's always at least the way you're executing it, how you're executing it, the journey that your characters take are journeys that thousands of other characters have taken, because everything's based off real life and people have similar lives, people have similar experiences, even when you're making fantasy style things. There's tropes, there's just things that exist and people draw on. So I think that this guy is literally just trying to make some cash off of the success of the Duffer brothers personally. I think Stranger Things is a great little show, and I hope this doesn't kind of affect any of their progress in their next season. I'm pretty sure the season's already filming, or starting to film soon. It's supposed to come out in 2019, so hopefully everything goes smooth there. I'm very interested to see how the rest of this plays out. So let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. Have you looked into it at all? Do you think this guy actually has some kind of claim? Do you think that those conversations happened? Do you think they stole his idea, or do you think that he might have put them on to the story of the things happening around Montauk? But yeah, that's gonna do it for today's video. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. If you want more information on Camp Hero, the Montauk Project, and all the conspiracy theories around that, let me know. I'd love to make that video. So that's gonna do it for today. Have a fantastic day, and we'll catch you all later.